Welcome back, my hello subscribers. Today, I'm talking about the 24mm 1.8 by Samyang/Rokinon. So there's a lot of lenses out there, but like I've said before, you don't need every single lens. But there are some lenses that are good to have as options and different shooting styles. And one of the ones that's very important is the lens that you use for vlogging and for context, the wide angle lenses. And this can be any wide angle. So what I mean is it could be a 24, it could be a 20, 18, 16, you name it. Any lens that is basically providing you that establishing shot, because it's telling you where you're at, what's going on, what is interesting to look at, the big picture, everything. So to me, that type of lens is very important, but it's also not a lens that you probably will use a lot, depending on what you do. Some of you might have it covered already with a 16 to 35. So if you ever do need that establishing shot, even though you're not constantly shooting at like 16 or 20, you have it as an option. So you'll just zoom out, take that shot, continue your way shooting at 24, 35, whatever that preference is. That might be their go-to. So 24, I know, is a very popular focal length just to capture things. We have the 24 1.4 from the Sony G Master. Excellent lens. I got to test it for a few weeks. I really loved it, but not enough to, like in my previous video with the 85, lock away $1,000 into that type of lens if it's not something I'm going to use a lot. So that takes me to today's conversation on my first impressions with the Samyang Rokinon 24. And this could apply to other lenses like the 18, 2.8, or Sigma options like 20s, 1.4s. It doesn't matter which brand. I'm just talking in general about these wide angle lenses. But in particular, this one caught my eye because it's giving you the focal length and a very good aperture combination, to where you can still isolate your background, you can still get a clean look, and use it for other things, like those establishing shots that I'm talking about. So for vlogging, for example, what I'm doing, 24 is actually a very good focal length because you won't be adding too much distortion. I think 24 might be that limit of where once you go further out, further wider, you are adding distortion. You're creating distance between the subject and the background a little bit more. 24 is still a little bit more controlled. And for the G Master is a perfect example where I think there's no distortion on that lens. And if there is, it's very minimal that you wouldn't really notice it. So the 24 1.8 from Samyang Rokinon is one of those lenses that is really close to that G Master. And I think the Viltrox 24 1.8 is another one that people have compared it with. But I went with the Samyang for a couple of reasons. One, it's weather sealed at the mount and at several points. Two, I still have 1.8, and 1.8 versus 1.4, that's a constant battle with a lot of lenses. In the real world, and depending on what you're doing, it might not matter as much. So for me, shooting these type of videos, do I really need 1.4? Probably not. I think I could do just fine with a 2.8 as well, but I like a little bit more separation. So I think 1.8 is a sweet spot. So we've got this option here. Third point, price. And this is a big one. Like I said in my 85mm video, if this focal length is key to your work, obviously get the G Master. You know, that's the best that we have right now for the Sony system. Or any system that you're using, just get the best one that you can get, because that's your primary lens. You need to invest in those things. But if it's not, and you need it for things like this, casual shooting, and here and there you need an establishing shot, any other lens is going to perform just fine for you. You don't need the best of the best. You don't need to get your money stuck in that. You can use it for other things. So that's my third point on the price. Fourth is the size. When you're shooting out, You already have expensive gear with you. It's bulky. Sometimes you get attention on you. You don't always want that as a photographer or videographer. And so this one is very small. This lens is like this big, and I can't show it to you because I'm actually shooting on it as part of this video. It's less than 3 inches. It's so compact, it's lightweight. And that might be a negative for some people, because if you drop it, you will likely break it, because this thing is made of plastic and it almost weighs nothing. You can easily let it go by accident and it will fall and break. So you have to be really careful with a lens like this. It comes in a neat pouch. It looks like those sunglasses type of pouches, but that would be my fourth point, the compactness. It's so lightweight, I can just bring it anywhere. And like I said, I want to have 24 as an option. It's not my primary lens. I'm probably going to be shooting at 35 or 50 during a wedding, just for the running gun shots. If I need to get an establishing shot or something wider just to capture more of the scene, I've got a 24 that is taking up almost no space, and I can just put it on there. That's what I like about this lens a lot right now. So let's add a fifth point, because you have to do it. It's either 3 or 5. What's my fifth point? The price. The price. It is so much more inexpensive. This thing is, I think, $300. You can get it used for $200. It's just amazing what you're getting at 1.8 at this focal length. There's only a handful of options. Makes it stand out more than using the 2.8 that's on your standard zoom. It's an extra stop. And that extra stop matters when it comes to light, when it comes to separation, making a wide angle a little bit more special. I think in comparison to what the G Master costs, it's like 3 or 4 times. It's just a big difference. So because of those reasons, I'm testing the lens out, using it over the next couple videos so that you could see the video quality and the focus as I move around. I can see the eye focus is following me well. Sitting back is great. I like to sit forward. That also puts me a little closer. This lens has a good minimum focus, so I can actually get closer than that and still get better focus. Well, not focus, better separation from my background, because I'm closer to the lens. I can get even closer. So this lens has really good minimum focus. I'm getting some distortion there, but as you can see, it's still focusing. And then I move back. This is more of the distance I would probably use it. I'm about 1.5 feet away from the lens. So it's really easy if you don't have a lot of space and you need a wide angle that's cheap. It works. You're gonna get that separation. Nothing to complain about the autofocus. I think this is just a very easy lens to just try out, to be honest. And I'm seeing the lens, it says it's 0.62 feet. So about half a foot you can be away and still get focus, which is really awesome. So it's not a macro, but you're getting really good performance. And look, it's following me very, very well. So I'm gonna keep working with this lens, using it. I wanna shoot some car content with it, put some NDs, shoot in 120p, you know, all the good stuff, 4K, see what happens. But so far, this lens is performing well. It's doing what I want straight out of the box. Do I need that 1.4? I mean, it's nice, but not 4 times price nicer. I'd rather save the money. So stick around for more testing.